I spent 10 years working inside luxury hotels, where guests behaved very differently once the elevator doors closed behind them. The public image of elegance never lasted long once they realized that nobody was watching. What I saw during those years changed the way I look at every hotel on the planet. Most people think intimacy inside hotels is something quiet, subtle, and behind the scenes. That idea disappears fast when you work the night shift and see what guests really do when they think they are hidden. If guests understood how many eyes follow their movements, they would think twice about everything. The first thing I learned as a new employee was simple. Luxury hotels do not just offer comfort. They offer a temporary world where people believe consequences do not exist. Managers never say this out loud, but it is the truth. When a guest checks in, they step into a psychological bubble where they feel anonymous and untouchable. That feeling is exactly why forbidden intimacy grows so quickly behind those doors. My first week at the hotel made that clear. I was assigned to the top floors where the suites cost more than most people earn in a month. From the first night, I realized that the higher the floor, the darker the secrets. One night I was delivering a complimentary fruit basket to a penthouse suite. When the elevator opened, the hallway was silent except for soft music coming from behind one door. I knocked, and when the door opened, I immediately understood that a situation was happening that the guest never wanted the hotel to acknowledge. Inside the suite were 3 people, none of whom looked like they arrived together. The man who answered the door whispered that this was a private meeting and asked me to leave the basket and pretend I saw nothing. His voice was calm, but his eyes told me he was terrified that management would find out. Moments like that are common in luxury hotels. Guests with power, money, or hidden relationships often choose hotels because they believe they can hide their personal lives. What they forget is that employees notice everything. I once worked a shift with a housekeeper who told me her most shocking story. A famous businessman would check in every Thursday with a woman who was clearly not his wife. After they left each Friday morning, the woman would always leave handwritten letters in the trash, torn into pieces. The housekeeper read the pieces one day, and the letters described a relationship that was falling apart in real time. Those letters told a story of a woman begging for commitment and a man who refused to leave his marriage. Every week, the emotional tension inside that suite increased. It reached a point where the staff could predict the mood just by how the sheets were left on the bed. This is the part viewers never understand. Hotel employees become witnesses to relationships they never chose to observe. They see them break, start, explode, and collapse inside the same 4 walls. Around my 3rd year, I moved to a different department. That is when I learned how often intimacy becomes a bargaining tool. Guests would flirt, manipulate, or pressure employees to keep secrets, upgrade rooms, or provide access to restricted areas. I remember a night when a guest walked into the lobby, wearing a long coat and sunglasses, even though it was past midnight. She looked nervous and kept her head down while she signed in. 10 minutes later, another guest arrived, wearing a matching coat, and both headed to the elevators without speaking. Security immediately recognized the pattern. They were 2 high-ranking individuals from different companies who were meeting in secret. The hotel pretended not to notice because as long as they did not disturb anyone, privacy was part of the service. Now is a good moment for a quick break. Let us know where you are watching from and on which device. We enjoy seeing all the places viewers come from. Thank you. Back to the story. The strangest situations happened on the night shift when guests believed the hotel was asleep. One guest once invited a staff member into the suite under the excuse of needing help with the thermostat. When the employee entered, it was obvious that the request was only a cover for something else. The employee refused politely, but the story spread fast through the team. Luxury hotels train staff to keep distance, but some guests test that boundary constantly. The more powerful the guest, the more invisible they think staff members are. Those guests often forget that employees are the people who clean, maintain, deliver, protect, and monitor everything. The security team has its own universe of stories. They told me that some of the most dramatic situations happened between guests who never planned to meet. Once, two individuals who were having separate affairs ended up on the same floor of the same hotel at the same time. When they saw each other in the hallway, both froze in complete shock. Security had to pretend it was normal, but they later said that the tension was so strong that everyone could feel it. The two guests left only minutes apart, and the staff knew that both marriages were probably destroyed that night. One of the most surprising parts of hotel culture is how predictable certain patterns become. Employees can recognize the difference between a private couple, a secret couple, and a forbidden couple just by the way they walk through the lobby. Eyes, posture, and distance reveal everything. Another staff member told me about a situation that still makes her uncomfortable. A well-known client checked in with someone who looked extremely young. The staff followed the safety protocol immediately, verifying identification and confirming consent. When everything checked out, the hotel had no legal reason to intervene, but the emotional discomfort remained. That is something people forget. Hotels may offer privacy, but they cannot ignore potential danger. There is a fine line between intimacy and risk, and employees constantly balance on that line. The kitchens, surprisingly, also reveal hidden stories. Room service staff often deliver meals late at night to suites where guests are trying to recover from emotional fights or complicated secrets they cannot share with anyone else. The plates they return later tell their own stories. Security once told me about a situation where two guests tried to use a service corridor as a private space. They assumed nobody walked there at night. What they did not know is that those corridors have cameras in every corner. Even with cameras, hotels rarely confront guests unless safety becomes an issue. The goal is always to keep peace, protect relationships, and make sure nobody feels embarrassed. But the emotional weight stays with staff long after the guests check out. After a decade of working behind the scenes, I realized something important. Forbidden intimacy inside luxury hotels is not just about passion or secrecy. It is about the human desire to hide parts of life that feel too complicated for the outside world. Employees understand that better than anyone. They see how people behave when they believe they are unseen. They see the loneliness, the excitement, the betrayal, the confusion, and the moments of connection that never make it past the elevator ride. When I left the hotel industry, I noticed one final truth. Guests forget hotels, but hotels never forget guests. The walls remember everything, and the people who work inside them remember even more. Next time you walk into a luxury hotel, look around. Someone has already stood where you are standing, carrying a secret they hoped nobody would ever discover. And someone behind the scenes probably saw it happen.